If the government could do 150 per year, if we get help from the private sector, we could do maybe either another 50 or another 100. And that would certainly help. Not many people know the history of this area. And this community is not unlike others. This area was once a cane piece. Yes, all of this area was once a cane piece. And as sugar became less economical, the use of these lands were converted from sugar into housing estates. Olympic Gardens is one big housing estate. Started in the 1950s, indeed, named after the Helsinki Olympics. Many of the roads in the area are named after our great athletes. And it was built with a sense of pride. It was a subdivision. Where we are now is a subdivision. It's a little plot of land cut up and probably still under title at the Ministry of Housing. And the solution was that you would pay a little at a time for it. 50 years hence, the people who live here have not paid fully for their land. Some have not. Some paid a little, and some forget about it. People pass on, and generations change, and we don't even know who originally had the land. And you would have seen from the structure, if you were to pan your cameras, you will see that you have a little house here, you have one over there, you have a little one here, and in one yard you might have sometimes up to 10 households, 10 houses, 10 distinct structures where families live in one little area. And it is an improvised living, not with the best of circumstances. And these circumstances generate all kinds of social conditions. And we understand this, we know this, we see it. The lack of privacy leads to breakdown in respect, leads to breakdown in the social order. The beneficiary of this house and the two that I handed over yesterday, and the hundreds of people who have benefited so far, they feel good and their families feel good. But this does not take away from the magnitude of the problem. We estimate that there are about 10,000 households that are in the worst conditions, the worst of the worst. And you can see, this is what existed before, this is what we are transforming.
Yes.
To get to the point where we have a program that nobody can say it is corrupt, it is a waste of public funds, that it is a means of siphoning off public funds, which we have had in other previous programs. In fact, money spent, as you rightfully said, Minister Mackenzie, and no house is there to account for it. So we have spent the time to properly design a program. The permanent secretary will tell you that there's an oversight committee that examines every single application to make sure that it goes through a proper beneficiary identification and justification system. That we have proper designs. You just look at the house and you know. Well built. So we are confident now that we have the solution from architectural, construction and engineering, and from public administration. We have a solution that all come together, that we can now scale it up, meaning we can now expand it. So right now, we will have about 100 completed by the end of this fiscal year.
The Prime Minister has been
very forthright in speaking about the needs. And I heard him yesterday extending the wider invitation to the private sector. There's a template now, and there's no need for us to reach out to those persons who are in need of a decent roof over their heads. The commitment of the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development is to work closely with the OAP program to ensure that we maximize as best as possible the solutions that we have for all Jamaicans. Thank you.
We won't be able to upgrade all the houses in each yard, but certainly we will get to the worst of the worst conditions, and that is what we're doing. This house is provided free of cost to the beneficiary. That went through a very rigorous process of selection, and we continue to do that. The new social housing program has about 400 applications now, and they are all being vetted. So little by little we're going to chip away at this problem of Jamaicans who are living in substandard shelter solutions.